Let me ask you something powerful today. What are you really doing with your life? Are you living it or just existing? Because the truth is, most people are not living. They're waiting for the weekend, waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to believe in them, waiting for permission to start living the life they dream about. But life is not a waiting room. It's a race against time, and the clock is ticking every single second. And every second that passes is one you will never, ever get back. You see, we all get the same 24 hours, the same 1,440 minutes in a day, but how you use them determines the quality of your life. And most people spend those minutes trading their dreams for comfort. They settle for good enough. They say, maybe someday, but someday is not a day of the week. Someday never comes. The world is full of people who had dreams of building something, creating something, becoming someone, but they let fear steal their future. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what others might think. But here's the truth. You can't live your best life and stay comfortable at the same time. Comfort kills growth. Comfort destroys potential. And if you don't break through your comfort zone, you'll die with your greatness still inside you. The pain of regret, you will feel one of two kinds of pain in this life. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. You might be tired now, you might be broke now, you might feel like nothing's working, but if you give up, that pain becomes permanent. When you're old and gray, sitting in silence, you'll ask yourself, what if I had tried harder? What if I had started that business? What if I had told them I loved them? What if I had taken that risk? Don't let your life become a list of what ifs. Don't waste your energy trying to be liked or trying to play it safe. The world doesn't need another average person. It needs someone who wakes up every day hungry to make a difference. The power inside you, you have no idea how powerful you really are. You've got talents, gifts, and strengths that the world hasn't even seen yet, but you'll never discover if you keep doing what's easy. Easy never made anyone great. Easy never built empires. Easy never made history. You have to demand more from yourself than anyone else could ever demand of you. You've got to rise even when you fall. You've got to keep going when your mind screams quit. Because the moment you push through that barrier, the moment you refuse to give in, that's when you meet the strongest version of yourself. And once you meet that version, you'll never go back. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation doesn't last. Commitment does. Motivation is a spark. But commitment is the fire that keeps burning when everything else fades. Every champion you admire didn't feel ready. They acted anyway. They didn't have all the answers. They just started, and through taking action, they created momentum. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent, because persistence beats perfection every time. Time, your most precious gift. Listen, time is your most valuable currency. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose friends and meet new ones. But once time is gone, it's gone forever. You don't know how many years you've got left. You don't even know how many tomorrows you have. So stop living like you've got forever. Start living like your life depends on today. Because it does. If you knew that a year from now you wouldn't be here, what would you do differently? Would you keep scrolling on your phone? Would you keep complaining? Would you keep comparing yourself to everyone else? Or would you finally start chasing what sets your soul on fire? You've got to take your life back from distractions. You've got to guard your attention like your life depends on it. Because it does. Every distraction steals a little bit of your destiny. Every wasted hour is a dream delayed. Rewrite your story. I don't care where you started. I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care who doubted you or how broken your past is. What matters is what you decide right now. Your past doesn't define you. It prepares you. It taught you lessons, gave you strength, and shaped your heart. But you must decide, are you going to stay a prisoner of your past or a pioneer of your future? You can't move forward if you keep staring in the rearview mirror. The windshield is bigger than the mirror for a reason, because where you're going is more important than where you've been. So stop replaying your pain and start rewriting your purpose. Decide that your story isn't over. It's just getting started. Be a leader of your own life. Leaders are not born. They're built in moments of pressure when everything is falling apart and you refuse to break. That's leadership. When everyone else gives up and you keep going, that's leadership. You have to lead your own life before you can lead anyone else's. Don't wait for someone to rescue you. Be the hero you've been waiting for. Because the day you take full responsibility for your life is the day everything changes. When you stop blaming your parents, your boss, the economy, your circumstances, and say, I am responsible, that's the moment you take back your power. Your life has meaning. You are not here by accident. You're here for a reason. You've got something the world needs, your story, your energy, your heart, your voice. There's someone out there who will heal, grow, or rise because of what you create, what you say, or what you become. But that can only happen if you stop hiding and start showing up. The world doesn't need your perfection. It needs your authenticity. It needs your courage. It needs your fire. Final challenge. So here's my challenge to you. Stop wasting your life on excuses. Stop wasting your life chasing approval. Stop wasting your life waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There's only now. Decide today that you're done playing small. Decide that your dreams matter. Decide that you're going to live with intensity, with passion, with purpose. When you wake up tomorrow morning, don't just roll out of bed. Rise with power. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I'm not here to waste time. I'm here to make an impact. Because you only get one shot at this life, one chance to become who you were meant to be, one opportunity to leave a mark that lasts long after you're gone. So live boldly, love deeply, give everything you've got, and whatever you do, don't waste your life. Time is your most valuable asset. Don't trade it for comfort. Every moment you live is a moment you will never get back. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are, how educated or uneducated, how successful or unknown. The only currency that truly matters is time. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose possessions and rebuild, but when a single second passes, it's gone forever. And yet, most people treat time as if it's infinite, as if they have an endless supply waiting for them. They waste hours scrolling, gossiping, complaining, procrastinating, and chasing distractions that mean nothing in the grand scheme of life. They act like tomorrow is guaranteed, like the next week, the next year, and the next decade will always be there waiting for them. But deep down, everyone knows the truth. One day there will be no tomorrow. People say they don't have time, but that's a lie. Everyone has time, they just spend it on the wrong things. They find hours to binge watch shows, to scroll through social media, to check messages that add no value, to hang around people who don't inspire them. And at the end of the day, they wonder why they feel unfulfilled, why their dreams seem far away. The reason is simple. They are trading the most precious thing they have for temporary comfort. They choose what's easy now over what's meaningful later. They choose instant pleasure over long-term purpose. Comfort is seductive. It tells you to take it easy, to rest a little longer, to play it safe. It whispers, you've got time. But that voice is lying to you. Every time you give in to comfort, you give up a piece of your potential. Every time you choose laziness over discipline, you're making a silent agreement with mediocrity. Comfort doesn't just steal your time. It steals your dreams, your drive, your hunger. It makes you forget that every day counts. Think about this. Your life is made up of moments, and those moments are measured in time. How you spend your time is how you spend your life. Every choice you make is a trade. When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. When you say yes to comfort, you're saying no to growth. When you say yes to wasting time, you're saying no to becoming who you could be. You are either investing your time or wasting it. There's no in between. If you're honest with yourself, you know when you're wasting time. You can feel it. There's that quiet voice inside you that says, I should be doing more. I'm capable of more. But it's easier to silence that voice than to face it. It's easier to distract yourself than to discipline yourself. It's easier to say later than to say now. But later is the most dangerous word in the world because it kills dreams slowly. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into next week turns into next year, and before you know it, a decade is gone. Every successful person understands the value of time. They don't waste it, they guard it, they schedule it, they respect it. They know that every hour has potential. They wake up with intention, not just routine. They understand that their time is life itself. And once it's gone, it never comes back. That's why they say no to distractions, no to toxic environments, no to things that don't move them closer to their vision. They've learned that saying no is not selfish. It's sacred. Because every yes has a cost, and that cost is your time. People love to say, I'm too busy. But being busy is not the same as being productive. You can be busy all day doing things that don't matter. You can fill your schedule and still be empty inside. True productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. It's about aligning your time with your purpose. It's about focusing your energy on what will move your life forward, not what keeps you standing still. Time doesn't wait for you. It doesn't slow down because you're tired. It doesn't pause because you're confused. And it doesn't stop because you're scared. Time moves whether you do or not. And every second you spend hesitating, doubting, or delaying is a second you could have spent building, learning, creating, becoming. The opportunity of your lifetime is right in front of you, but it's slipping away while you overthink. One day you'll look back and realize that all the little moments you thought didn't matter were actually everything. You'll realize that the time you spent worrying could have been used growing. The time you spent waiting could have been used building. The time you spent doubting could have been used believing. The truth is, it's never a lack of time that stops people. It's a lack of focus and urgency. If you truly understood how precious time is, you'd never waste another minute. You'd wake up with gratitude just to be alive. You'd realize that every morning is a gift, a reset, a chance to become more than you were yesterday. You'd stop living like you have forever and start living like you have now. You'd start treating time like gold, because it is. And when you stop trading time for comfort, everything changes. You begin to see life differently. You stop making excuses. You start setting priorities. You start choosing growth over ease, purpose over pleasure, discipline over distraction. You start saying, I don't have time for things that don't serve my vision. Because you finally understand that your time is your life, and wasting it is the most expensive mistake you can make. People often think success is about talent or luck, but it's not. Success belongs to those who respect time, to those who show up when they don't feel like it, to those who invest hours every day into becoming better, even when nobody's watching. The world rewards those who take time seriously. It's not the smartest or the strongest who win. It's the ones who refuse to waste their minutes. When you respect time, life respects you back. Opportunities start appearing. Energy increases. Clarity grows. You attract people who value what you value. You become unstoppable because you've removed the biggest obstacle, your own comfort. Comfort will always tempt you, but purpose will always fulfill you. The choice is yours every single day. Use your time to build your dreams or waste it escaping from them. Imagine if today was your last day. Would you still scroll through meaningless content? Would you still spend hours doing things that don't fulfill you? Would you still put your dreams on hold? Of course not. You would call the people you love. You would take action on the things that matter. You would live fully, speak truthfully, and act boldly. The sad part is, most people wait for tragedy to realize the value of time. They wait until it's too late to start living intentionally. Don't let that be you. Don't let time slip through your fingers while you're distracted by comfort. Every day, every hour, every minute is an opportunity to move closer to the person you were meant to become. You owe it to yourself to use it wisely. The world needs what only you can bring, but it will never see it if you keep choosing comfort over calling. Time is your greatest teacher, your greatest resource, and your greatest test. How you spend it determines everything. Don't trade it for comfort. Choose discipline over regret. Pain of effort is temporary. Regret lasts forever. Every person alive will experience pain. You can't avoid it. You can only choose which kind you want. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline hurts now, but it makes you stronger later. Regret feels easy now, but it crushes you later. The difference between people who achieve what they want and those who only dream about it is that one chooses the temporary discomfort of discipline, while the other chooses the comfortable path that ends in regret. Discipline demands something from you every single day. Focus, effort, patience, consistency. Regret demands everything from you all at once. Your peace, your pride, your future. The pain of discipline is honest. It comes when you push your limits, when you wake up early, when you train your mind to do what's right instead of what's easy. It's the soreness after a workout, the frustration of failure, the fatigue after long hours of hard work. It's not pleasant, but it's purposeful. It's the kind of pain that builds you. Every time you choose discipline, you gain strength, clarity, and confidence. You become the kind of person who can trust themselves because you've proven that your word means something. You said you would do it, and you did. The pain of regret, on the other hand, is silent at first. It creeps in slowly. It waits. It lets you take the easy road, telling you everything will be fine. But one day, it shows up. And when it does, it hits harder than anything you've ever felt. It hits when you realize you could have done more, when you look back at wasted time, when you know that you had chances but didn't take them. It hits when you see someone else living the life you wanted, not because they were better, but because they were disciplined. Regret doesn't just hurt, it haunts. It follows you through every what if, every if only, every someday that never came. Discipline is about control, not over others, but over yourself. It's mastering your emotions, your habits, and your impulses. It's choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. It's saying no to distractions that don't serve your vision. The world today makes discipline harder than ever because everything is designed for instant gratification. You can have food in minutes, entertainment in seconds, and validation in a few clicks, but none of those things bring you closer to your goals. They only make you more comfortable in your limitations. Discipline asks you to step beyond that. It asks you to delay gratification, to do what others won't now so you can live how others can't later. When you live with discipline, you build momentum. Every small decision compounds. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Each time you resist an excuse, your mindset strengthens. Each day of consistency makes the next day easier. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up even when you're tired, uninspired, or afraid. You won't always feel like doing it, but you do it anyway because you made a decision that your future matters more than your mood. People often misunderstand discipline. They think it's restrictive, that it kills joy and spontaneity, but discipline doesn't take freedom away. It gives it to you. Because when you're disciplined, you're not controlled by your emotions or your environment. You're not a slave to distraction, temptation, or fear. You create structure that supports your success instead of chaos that destroys it. Freedom without discipline becomes destruction. Discipline creates the foundation where true freedom can exist. Look at any area of your life, health, finances, relationships, growth, and you'll see that success in each one requires discipline. You can't have a strong body without discipline in your habits. You can't build wealth without discipline in your spending and saving. You can't build trust in relationships without discipline in communication and respect. You can't master your craft without discipline in practice. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results, between potential and achievement. Without it, dreams stay dreams. The people you admire most, the ones who seem unstoppable, aren't stronger than you. They're just more disciplined. They've learned to make decisions based on vision, not feelings. They've conditioned themselves to act even when it's inconvenient. They've accepted that the pain of discipline is a small price to pay for the life they want. Every morning they choose discomfort, and every night they sleep with pride. Regret never gives you that satisfaction. It doesn't happen in one big moment. It builds up quietly. It builds every time you hit snooze instead of getting up. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow. Every time you let fear make your decisions for you. One day, you look back and realize you've run out of tomorrows. You realize that comfort cost you everything. You realize that the moments you thought you were saving yourself from pain were actually the moments you were creating future pain. The irony of life is that discipline feels hard now but makes life easier later, while comfort feels easy now but makes life harder later. Discipline demands effort up front, but it pays you back with results, confidence, and peace. Regret demands nothing now, but it collects its debt at the end with interest. When you choose discipline, you suffer once. When you choose regret, you suffer every day after. It's not that disciplined. People don't feel tired or lazy. They do. The difference is they act beyond those feelings. They've trained their mind to remember the outcome, not the obstacle. They focus on the reward, not the resistance. They've learned that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. Discipline is not about being emotionless. It's about not letting emotions dictate your actions. Every single goal you have will test your discipline. You'll be tempted to quit, to lower your standards, to take shortcuts. But that's when discipline matters most, when it's least convenient. Anyone can be disciplined when it's easy. True discipline shows up when everything in you wants to stop. It's in those moments that you define who you are and what you're made of. Regret loves weakness. It feeds on hesitation, on indecision, on excuses. It thrives in the minds of those who say, I'll do it later and it's not the right time, but there will never be a perfect time. There's only now, and in every moment you hesitate, regret grows stronger. The only way to kill regret is through discipline. Every time you take action, every time you push through resistance, you shrink the space where regret can live. When you look at your future, ask yourself which pain you want to live with. The pain of waking up early to work on your goals, or the pain of looking back wishing you had. The pain of saying no to temptation, or the pain of realizing temptation controlled your life. The pain of staying focused when it's hard, or the pain of realizing you never became who you could have been. One is temporary, one is forever. One builds you, one breaks you. Discipline may not give you instant happiness, but it will give you lasting pride. It will give you a life where you look back and feel grateful, not guilty. You'll remember the days you pushed through, and those will become your defining moments every time you choose discipline. You're building a legacy. You're proving to yourself that you are in control. You're showing the world that you won't settle for mediocrity. The pain of discipline sharpens your character, strengthens your will, and shapes your destiny. It's the foundation on which success, growth, and freedom are built. Every time you embrace it, you move further away from regret. Every time you resist comfort, you earn respect, not from others, but from yourself. Because in the end, the only competition that truly matters is between who you are and who you could be. And the only thing standing between them is discipline. Stop waiting for motivation. Take action and create momentum. So many people sit around waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right feeling, waiting for inspiration to strike. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel ready, but that moment never comes. Because the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It's inconsistent. It fades the moment things get hard. You can't depend on motivation to carry you through life because motivation is a mood, and moods change. One day you're fired up, the next day you're drained. If you let feelings decide your actions, you'll live your entire life starting and stopping, never gaining real progress. Motivation might get you started once, but it's action that keeps you moving. The secret to success isn't waiting for energy, it's creating it. It's not about being inspired, it's about being committed. When you take action, even small action, something powerful happens. You generate momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence fuels motivation. It's a cycle that starts with movement, not emotion. Action creates motivation. Motivation doesn't create action. People believe they need to feel ready before they start, but nobody ever feels ready. Every successful person began before they felt prepared. They started when it was uncomfortable, when it didn't make sense, when fear was loud. The difference is that they understood one thing. If you move, clarity comes. If you wait, confusion grows. Action reveals what's possible, while waiting kills potential. You can't think your way into confidence. You can't wish your way into progress. You can only act your way there. You can't steer a parked car. It has to move before you can change direction. Life works the same way. When you start taking small steps, opportunities appear, lessons emerge, direction becomes clearer. The people who stay stuck are the ones who are waiting for motivation to give them permission to begin. Taking action doesn't mean you won't feel fear. You'll feel doubt, resistance, anxiety, and maybe even failure. But action cuts through all of that. When you move forward despite fear, fear loses power. The human brain is wired to protect you from discomfort, so it will always create excuses. It's not the right time. I'm too tired. What if it doesn't work? Those thoughts are designed to keep you safe, not successful. Safety and success don't live in the same place. You have to decide which one you value more. Momentum doesn't come from massive leaps. It comes from small, consistent steps. You don't need to take 10 giant actions. You just need to take one small one and repeat it. Because once you start, even the smallest progress gives you evidence that you can do more. That evidence creates confidence. And that confidence creates energy. You start to trust yourself more. You start to build a pattern. You begin to realize that you don't need to feel good to do good. You need to do good to feel good. Most people misunderstand motivation. They think it's something they need to find. They look for it in videos, books, or other people's success stories. But the truth is, motivation isn't something you find. It's something you build. It's built through progress, through effort, through results. It's built by doing what you said you would do, especially when you don't feel like it. When you see progress, you start to believe in yourself. And that belief fuels more progress. That's how you build unstoppable momentum. When you rely on motivation, you live reactively. You're at the mercy of your mood. When you build momentum, you live proactively. You become driven by purpose, not emotion. You move forward regardless of how you feel because your standard is higher than your feelings. Motivation is like a spark, bright but short-lived. Momentum is like a fire. Once you feed it, it becomes self-sustaining. The first step is always the hardest, not because it's the biggest, but because it requires courage. Once you take it, the next step becomes easier. It's like pushing a heavy boulder. It's hardest to start, but once it rolls, it becomes unstoppable. You just have to get it moving. That's why so many people never change. They never get past the starting line. They overthink, they hesitate, they wait for the right emotion, and in that waiting, life passes them by. Action is what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers talk about what they want. Doers take the first step even when they're scared. Dreamers wish. Doers work. Dreamers imagine the outcome. Doers create it. The act of starting changes everything. Once you start, you realize most of your fears were illusions. You realize that progress feels better than procrastination. You realize that momentum feels better than comfort. When you take action, you don't just change your circumstances, you change your identity. Every step you take reinforces a new belief about yourself. I am capable. I am consistent. I am committed. That belief grows stronger with every repetition. Eventually, it becomes who you are. You stop identifying as someone who waits and start seeing yourself as someone who moves. You stop needing motivation because you've become the kind of person who acts regardless of it. The truth is, waiting kills dreams faster than failure ever will. Failure teaches you, waiting teaches you nothing. Failure gives you feedback. Waiting gives you regret. Every time you delay action, you train your mind to accept hesitation. Every time you take action, you train it to embrace courage. You're programming yourself with every decision. Action builds power. Inaction builds weakness. The hardest part of anything is beginning, but once you do, your mind adapts. Your energy rises. You start feeling alive again. Because movement is life. The human spirit wasn't designed for stagnation. It was designed for creation, growth, and forward motion. When you move, you awaken that inner fire that's been buried under fear and doubt. When you act, you remind yourself that you are in control of your destiny. If you wait for motivation, you'll only move when it's easy. But easy moments don't build greatness. The most successful people in the world act when they're tired, uninspired, and uncertain. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems, discipline, and habits. They've built structures in their life that keep them moving even when they don't feel like it. They've learned to do it anyway. That's the difference between average and extraordinary. Consistency when others stop. Momentum is built through repetition. One action becomes a habit, one habit becomes a pattern, and one pattern becomes a lifestyle. You start to gain rhythm. Things that once felt impossible become automatic. The same way water shapes rock through constant flow, your daily actions shape your life through consistency. It doesn't matter how slow you go. It matters that you don't stop, because as long as you're moving, you're winning. When you take action, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become a creator of outcomes. You stop saying, I hope things get better, and start saying, I'll make them better. That shift in mindset changes everything. It turns struggle into strength, obstacles into lessons, and time into opportunity. You realize that motivation was never the key. Movement was. Every great transformation starts with one decision. To act now instead of waiting. You don't have to see the entire path. You just have to take the next step, because once you move, the path unfolds. You don't need confidence to start. Confidence comes from starting. You don't need clarity to move. Clarity comes from momentum. Action creates the answers that hesitation hides. The life you want isn't waiting for motivation. It's waiting for movement. It's waiting for you to take that first imperfect step, to do something, to start small but start now. The more you act, the less fear controls you. The more you move, the more life opens up. Motivation may visit once in a while, but momentum will stay with you forever if you build it. Your past doesn't define you. Your decisions do. Every person has a past. Some parts of it are beautiful, some are painful, and some are hard to even think about. But no matter how heavy it feels, your past is not your prison. It's a classroom. It's where you learn, not where you have to live. Too many people let their history dictate their destiny. They replay old mistakes, cling to old labels, and carry old pain as if it's part of who they are. But your past is not your identity. It's an experience, not a sentence. The only thing that defines you is what you decide to do. Now, there are people who spend years blaming their past for why they can't move forward. They say, I can't do this because of what happened, or I'm broken because of where I came from. But the truth is, the past only has power if you keep feeding it. The moment you stop reliving it, it starts to lose its control over you. The moment you realize that, your next decision matters more than your last mistake. Everything changes. You stop being a victim of what was and become a creator of what can be. Everyone carries scars. You've been hurt, betrayed, disappointed, rejected. Maybe you failed at something you gave your heart to. Maybe you trusted someone who walked away. Maybe you grew up in an environment that made you doubt your worth. Those moments can shape you, but they don't have to define you. The pain you went through was real, but it doesn't have to be permanent. You can't change what happened, but you can choose how you respond. That choice is where your power lives. Some people think that because they made mistakes, they don't deserve another chance, but that's a lie. The most powerful people in the world are not those who never failed. They're the ones who failed and got back up. They use their past as fuel, not as a wall. They refuse to let one bad chapter ruin the whole story. They understood that what matters most is not the setback, but the comeback. Every decision you make today is a new vote for the person you want to become. Every time you act with courage, discipline, and integrity, you rewrite your future. You don't have to carry your old identity with you. Just because you used to be someone who procrastinated, doubted, or gave up easily doesn't mean you have to stay that way. Every single day, you get the chance to choose differently. You can decide that the old version of you no longer runs your life. You can decide that from this moment on. Your actions will speak louder than your past. Who you were yesterday doesn't control who you become today, unless you let it. The danger of living in the past is that it keeps you stuck in guilt and fear. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, there's something wrong with me. And both of them keep you from growing, but growth requires forgiveness, not just for others, but for yourself. You have to forgive the person you were when you didn't know better. You have to forgive the moments when you fell short, because you can't build a future while hating yourself for your past. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself to move forward. Every time you make a decision, you are shaping your life. Decisions create direction. One powerful decision can change everything. the decision to start, to believe, to commit, to try again. Your past can't decide for you unless you hand it the pen. Most people let their old story keep writing their next chapter. They keep repeating the same patterns because they haven't decided to break them. But all it takes is one firm decision to change the trajectory of your life. One moment of clarity can rewrite years of limitation. If you've been through pain, loss, or struggle, that doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. What defines you is what you do with that pain. You can let it harden you or heal you. You can use it as an excuse or as energy. Pain can destroy you or it can drive you. The difference is in your decision. When you decide to rise above it, you turn your wounds into wisdom. You turn your past into power. Every person you admire has a past too. They've all failed. They've all fallen. They've all faced rejection. The reason they're admired isn't because they were perfect. It's because they didn't quit. They didn't let one season of darkness define their entire life. They decided that they were bigger than their mistakes, stronger than their pain, and more capable than their fears. That same strength exists inside you, but it won't show up until you decide to move forward. Your past is like a shadow. It follows you only when you keep looking back. The moment you face the light, the shadow falls behind. But you have to turn towards something brighter, your vision, your values, your goals. The more you focus on where you're going, the less power your past has to pull you back. Life rewards movement. The longer you stay stuck in what happened, the longer you postpone what's possible. You might think that your past disqualified you, but it didn't. It prepared you, it gave you perspective, empathy, and strength that comfort never could. It taught you what matters. It showed you who you are when everything else is stripped away. It was part of your evolution, not your end. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. And real people are forged through pain, not protected from it. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck is simple: decisions. The decision to stop blaming. The decision to take responsibility. The decision to start over. When you decide to own your story instead of run from it, you reclaim your power. You stop saying, "This happened to me," and start saying, "This happened for me." You stop letting your history become your excuse and start letting it become your education. Every day is a clean page. You can wake up and decide to change your habits, your mindset, your energy. You can decide to let go of people who keep you trapped in your past. You can decide to stop living by your old limitations. You can decide to act in alignment with your higher self. The version of you that knows what you're truly capable of, that version is waiting for you to step into it. But you can't do that while carrying the weight of who you used to be. Some people say, "But I can't forget what I've been through." You don't have to forget. You have to transform. You take what was painful and turn it into purpose. You take what broke you and use it to build something better. You stop seeing your past as a punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Every hardship you survived made you more equipped for the life you're meant to create. There's power in realizing that your past can't follow you unless you keep walking in circles. The moment you make a new decision to think differently, to act differently, to believe differently, you break the cycle. You change the pattern. You shift the trajectory of your life. Your past may explain you, but it doesn't define you. What defines you is your next move. Every time you take control of your decisions, you reclaim control of your destiny. You stop reacting to what was and start creating what will be. The moment you decide to step forward despite the weight of the past, that's the moment your life begins to change. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens decision by decision, moment by moment, day by day. You're not bound by your past unless you choose to stay there. Live with purpose, not permission. Make every day count. Most people drift through life waiting for someone to give them approval to start living. They wait for the right moment, the right support, the right circumstances, or the right confidence. But life doesn't wait. Time moves whether you do or not. And if you're waiting for someone to tell you it's your turn, you'll wait forever. Living with purpose means deciding that your life matters now. Not someday, not when it's convenient, not when others believe in you, but right now. It means taking full ownership of your energy, your direction, and your impact. Too many people live by permission slips they never needed. They look around to see what others think before they make a move. They want validation before they take action. They want certainty before they commit. But purpose doesn't need approval. Purpose doesn't ask for permission. Purpose simply acts. It's the inner fire that says, "This is what I was made for," and moves even when no one claps. The truth is, no one is coming to hand you meaning. You create it through action, through contribution, through living fully aligned with what matters most to you. When you live without purpose, life feels heavy. You start to wake up tired. Not because your body is exhausted, but because your soul is unfulfilled. You feel like you're running on a treadmill, lots of effort, no direction. You chase goals that don't satisfy you because they were never truly yours. You follow paths that keep you safe instead of alive. But when you live with purpose, everything changes. You stop existing and start experiencing. You stop counting days and start making days count. Living with purpose begins with clarity. You have to know what you stand for, what you value, and what you want to contribute. Purpose is not about having everything figured out. It's about having something worth fighting for. It's about knowing that your life can make a difference in your family, your community, or the world. It's about waking up with a reason to move, to grow, to give. That reason becomes your compass when life gets confusing. It pulls you forward when things get tough. It gives meaning to every struggle because you know you're part of something bigger than comfort. Purpose requires courage because it often goes against the grain. People will question your decisions. They'll doubt your direction. They'll project their fears onto your dreams. If you live by permission, you'll shrink to fit their expectations. But if you live by purpose, you'll rise to meet your potential. You'll stop asking, what will people think? And start asking, what will it cost me if I don't do this? Because the truth is, the cost of regret is always heavier than the cost of courage. Every day you wake up is an opportunity to make it count. You don't need a massive platform or millions of followers to make an impact. Purpose isn't about scale. It's about intention. It's about showing up with meaning in whatever you do. If you're helping someone, do it with compassion. If you're building something, do it with excellence. If you're learning, do it with curiosity. Every moment you live with intention adds up to a life that matters. Because what defines a meaningful life isn't how long it lasts, but how deeply it's lived. You've probably seen people who seem to have everything, money, status, attention, yet they feel empty. That's because success without purpose is hollow. Purpose gives success its soul. Without it, you can win the world and still lose yourself. The greatest fulfillment doesn't come from achievement, it comes from alignment when what you do matches who you are. Living with purpose means aligning your actions with your values. Even when it's inconvenient, it means doing what's right, not what's easy. It means choosing significance over comfort. The reason most people struggle to find purpose is because they think it's something external, a destination they need to reach. But purpose is not found, it's lived. It's something you uncover through movement, not through waiting. You don't think your way into purpose, you act your way into it. You try, you fail, you learn, you grow. And somewhere along that journey, clarity appears. You realize that your purpose is not a single task or title. It's the way you show up for life every day. Living with purpose also means living with awareness that your time is limited. Every sunrise is a reminder that you're being given another chance to make something meaningful out of the day. You don't get to decide how long you live, but you do get to decide how fully you live. Most people underestimate how much they can do today and overestimate how much time they have left. Purposeful people don't wait for someday. They use today. They understand that someday is not on the calendar. There's a difference between activity and aliveness. You can be busy all day and still feel dead inside. You can work, scroll, talk, and repeat, yet feel like you're going nowhere. Purpose adds depth to everything you do. It turns ordinary actions into expressions of meaning. It turns small moments into significant ones. When you live with purpose, even challenges feel worthwhile because they're part of something you believe in. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're ready. You'll never feel fully ready, and that's okay. The people who change their lives don't wait for permission. They act despite the fear. They understand that confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. Every time you take a step forward, you build proof that you're capable, and that proof becomes power. The world opens up to people who decide to move without waiting for validation. Purpose-driven living means being intentional about your time, your focus, and your energy. It means saying no to what doesn't serve you, even if it pleases others. It means saying yes to what ignites you, even if it scares you. It's easy to drift through life doing what's expected. It takes strength to live by conviction. But the moment you do, you stop being pulled by pressure and start being guided by passion. You don't have to have a grand plan. You just have to start where you are. The smallest act done with purpose can create ripples that outlast you. Smile at someone who needs hope. Help someone who's struggling. Create something that uplifts others. Speak truth when it matters. That's how purpose is built. Not in giant leaps, but in consistent, meaningful steps. And living with purpose doesn't mean your life will be easy. In fact, it often means it will be harder because you'll face resistance. But that resistance is proof that you're growing. When you live on purpose, challenges aren't obstacles. They're opportunities to deepen your strength and sharpen your mission. Each struggle refines your why. Each setback clarifies your direction. There will always be people who don't understand your journey. They'll question your drive, your goals, your choices. But remember, your purpose wasn't assigned to them. It was assigned to you. You don't need them to see your vision. You need to see it clearly enough to move without hesitation. The more you live for approval, the less you live for authenticity. And authenticity is the foundation of a purposeful life. When you live with purpose, every second becomes sacred. You start valuing your time differently. You stop wasting it on things that drain you or distract you. You become intentional about the conversations you have, the goals you chase, the habits you build, because you realize that life is fragile and every breath is a gift. The clock is ticking, whether you notice or not. You can either spend your life watching it pass or use it to build something that lasts. Purpose is not about perfection. It's about direction. It's about waking up and asking yourself, how can I make this day matter? Maybe it's through creating, helping, growing, or simply showing up fully present. The point is to live consciously, to make sure your days are not just filled, but fulfilled. Because when you live with purpose, you stop asking for permission to exist and start claiming the power to live fully.